Spoilers ahead for all of Jalopy. Even if you continue to watch this video without having played Jalopy, I recommend you purchase it anyway, since the story is only part of why this game is so incredible. Jalopy is a driving sim set in Germany just after the end of the Cold War, released in 2016 and developed by Minceworks and published by Excalibur Games. The game, on paper, is about you and your uncle driving across East Berlin, but as you play the game time and time again, you realize some really interesting things. You and your uncle make a Leica. You attach the door, you put on the tyres, you add a carburetor, fill up the fuel tank, and you set off on a journey from East Germany all the way to your ancestral home of Turkey. The car you drive in-game is called a Leica Deluxe 601, an East European car modelled after Trabant 601. The Trabant 601 was a car notorious for being unreliable and seen by some as one of the worst cars ever produced, and that's shown in the game. The Leica will smoke constantly. It struggles to get to 30 on a small incline. By default, it will have enough fuel to get between locations. The tyres pop every few trips. You need to stop the car every 100 miles or so to refuel and repair. So the car, the Leica, becomes the biggest focus of the game. The whole game revolves around it. Whenever you're low on fuel, you have to stop and manually refuel it. Whenever your car smokes because of damaged parts, you have to choose what to repair with the limited amount of repair kits you have on you at one time. And when a tyre pops, you have to get out, lift the car with the car jack, and use a timer iron yourself to remove the busted tyre and attach the new one. All of these things help the player become more attached to the Leica, and as you progress from town to town with your uncle, you can purchase more tyres and repair kits, and if you have enough cash, you can even buy new parts for your car, parts that might wear out less or have better performance, or store more fuel, or help your car go faster. And if you have more money than that, you can get cosmetics, paint decals, a new door, or even get your car sponsored by the fictional companies in the game. As you progress, you can find abandoned cars on the road. You can salvage parts from these as well as scrapyards that have parts you can take and put in your own car, or boxes you can find on the road. Some of these boxes can be opened by hand, but some, usually ones containing valuable items, require a crowbar to open. Using these boxes is how you really earn money in Jalopy. But some items are considered contraband, and when going through borders, you could be fined if they find these items. But you can find out what items are considered contraband using the newspaper at every hotel you stay. Eventually you'll drive through some incredible sights, showing just how amazing this game looks. From the bridge at the end of the game to the lighthouse, each location and area is distinct from the last, and they aren't even the main focus of the game. Eventually, the playthrough ends with you arriving in Turkey and staying in the last hotel. You wake up and your uncle is gone, and he left a letter stating to forget your time with him, take the Leica and move on. I'll get more into his letter later. At the beginning of the second playthrough, you wake up, fix the Leica. You have a better understanding of the world now, so when you drive off again, you'll notice how the world is procedurally generated. But this isn't a drawback, it just means there'll be different hazards, different weather conditions, and you'll see different sights, like a factory off in the distance, or this little bridge off in the distance, or much closer distance anyway. You probably won't focus as much on the car. You might buy a crowbar earlier so you can get access to more boxes, and you might spend your money more effectively, having enough to get more upgrades and paint jobs and sponsorships. As you continue and stay at more and more motels, you might notice that your uncle's suitcase is open on a night, and you can read the letters inside it, and this is the real story of Jalopy. But real quick, a little history lesson. The Cold War is a really interesting part of history to me. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail here, but importantly, it led to the collapse of the Soviet Union and the introduction of capitalism into Eastern Europe. Before the game's events, while the player character is still a baby, you and your uncle travel to East Germany. But before you and your uncle can return to your family in Turkey, the Berlin Wall is constructed, and any attempts to cross the wall usually cost the lives of the people trying to cross it. The wall was up for almost 30 years, so Uncle couldn't get back to his family until 1990, when the wall is knocked down. The uncle keeps in touch with the family through the letters you can find in his suitcase while he sleeps, or in the car after the end of the game. By reading them, it's revealed both of the player character's parents died before the wall fell, the mother's last wish being to scatter her husband's ashes across the Bosphorus, a waterway in northern western Turkey. When you arrive in Turkey, Uncle tells you to live your life, and that there is something you must do alone, that being to scatter your dad's ashes. So now, you're on your own. Your uncle isn't there. You can drive to Turkey and back over and over until you have the best parts and the flashiest paint jobs, but you're on your own now, just as Uncle wanted, adventuring through the beautiful sights, trashing a Leica again and again. Maybe you find a sight so amazing you stop and take a look. But regardless,